The planet of Veora was a wild, untamed world, its skies painted with streaks of purple and gold, and its lands filled with towering crystalline trees that shimmered in the sunlight. Captain Elias Varon had never seen anything like it. He had traveled through countless systems, but Veora's beauty and danger were unmatched. He moved cautiously through the dense forest, his boots crunching on the crystal shards that littered the ground. The air was thick and humid, carrying the scent of strange flowers and minerals. Elias had one mission: survey this remote planet and gather information about its life forms. The reports he had read spoke of hostile creatures, many of them predators far larger and more cunning than anything humans had encountered. Most explorers had avoided this sector entirely, but Elias had always believed that humans had something special: the ability to adapt, to think creatively, and to act courageously when others would hesitate. As he navigated through a particularly dense section of the forest, a sudden sound froze him in place. A high-pitched scream echoed from the trees above. He looked up, squinting against the bright light filtering through the crystal canopy. His eyes widened. A small group of alien young creatures with shimmering blue skin, 4 slender arms, and luminous eyes was dangling precariously from a branch. They were being attacked by a massive predator, a beast with scales like jagged glass and teeth that gleamed in the sunlight. The predator's claws tore at the young, and one of them fell, catching itself on a lower branch by sheer luck. Elias's heart pounded. He could run, retreat, and report back to his ship, but something inside him would not allow that. These were living beings, innocent and helpless, and he could not leave them to die. Without hesitation, he pulled a small device from his belt, a multi-purpose tool humans used for both research and survival, and activated its energy net. The net shot out in a burst of blue light, creating a temporary barrier between him and the predator. The predator snarled and snapped at the net, but it could not reach him. Elias took a deep breath. "Easy now," he muttered to himself, his hands moving quickly to adjust the net. He needed a plan. He could not fight the creature head-on, it was far too powerful, but he could use the terrain to his advantage. He noticed a cluster of crystal shards nearby, jagged and sharp. If he could lure the predator toward them, it might injure itself. Carefully, he threw small pieces of debris to distract it. The predator's attention shifted, its glowing eyes following the movement. Elias crept closer to the young aliens, speaking softly in a calm voice, hoping to reassure them. "Don't be afraid. I'm here to help," he said, his voice steady, despite the fear rising in his chest. The alien young looked at him, their eyes wide with both terror and curiosity. One of them, a smaller one with a faint golden glow, reached out toward him, trembling. Elias extended his hand slowly, and the small creature grasped it. Time seemed to stretch as he guided them toward a safer spot. The predator followed, growling, but the net slowed its progress. Elias's mind raced. He remembered an old survival trick from his training: use the predator's strength against it. He found a sturdy branch above and tied the net to it, creating a trap that would swing the beast into the jagged crystal cluster if it lunged too far. The predator attacked, and Elias held his ground. The trap worked perfectly. The beast's momentum carried it into the sharp crystals, letting out a deafening roar. Elias didn't wait to see the outcome. He grabbed the alien young and ran. They stumbled, their limbs weak, but Elias held them, close, whispering encouragements. After several tense minutes, they reached a small clearing surrounded by luminescent plants. Elias laid the young aliens down gently, checking them for injuries. Fortunately, they were mostly unharmed aside from scratches and bruises. They looked up at him with a mix of fear, relief, and wonder. That's when he noticed her. The mother, Kalira, emerged from the shadows, her presence commanding and regal. Her skin was a deep shade of violet, and her eyes glowed with intelligence and authority. Her long, elegant limbs moved gracefully, yet every step radiated power. She stared at Elias, her expression unreadable. For a moment, there was silence. The young clustered behind her, trembling but safe. Elias straightened, meeting her gaze. He did not bow or show fear. He simply held her gaze steadily. "I saved your children," he said calmly. "I didn't want them to die." Kalira studied him for several long seconds. Then slowly she spoke, not with words but with a telepathic connection. Elias felt her thoughts brush against his mind like a gentle wind, filled with curiosity and caution. "You risked yourself for them. Humans are not known for such courage." Elias nodded, still speaking aloud. "I believe in protecting those who cannot protect themselves. It doesn't matter what species they are." There was a pause. Then Kalira's thoughts returned, tinged with a strange mixture of admiration and something he could not name. "Most of my kind would have judged you unworthy or weak. Yet you acted with bravery and cleverness. You understand the value of life." 3. Alien Young began to relax, approaching him cautiously. One brushed a tiny hand against his arm, and Elias smiled. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe now." But Kalira's presence reminded him that the danger was not over. Her species had strict customs and expectations. Saving her children was not just a compassionate act. It carried consequences. Elias could feel it in the air, a weight of judgment that was both alien and profound. "You have entered our world and changed it." Kalira's thoughts continued. "Such actions do not go unnoticed. You have claimed a place in our lives, whether you understand it or not." Elias swallowed hard. "I didn't mean to interfere with your society," he said. "I just couldn't let them die." The violet-skinned mother tilted her head, considering him. "Your reasoning is human, yet your actions speak a universal truth. Life is precious, and protecting it defines strength." Elias realized that this was more than gratitude. There was a weight to her gaze, a significance he had never encountered with any other species. He had risked his life for her young, and now he was bound to face the consequences of his bravery. As he tended to the alien young, cleaning minor scratches and reassuring them, Elias noticed a small glow in Kalira's eyes. It was not anger, nor was it merely curiosity. It was recognition. He had proven something not just to her, but to an entire species. The sun began to set over Veora, casting long shadows across the crystalline forest. Elias looked around, aware of the beauty and danger surrounding him. He had faced the predator and saved the young, but he knew this was only the beginning. Kalira approached him slowly, her presence dominating the clearing. The alien young clung to her, but their eyes kept returning to Elias, filled with trust and something that resembled hope. Elias met Kalira's gaze steadily, understanding that a new chapter of his life was beginning, one where humans would be tested not by strength alone, but by courage, morality, and the willingness to act when others would hesitate. Finally, Kalira spoke aloud, her voice a deep, melodic sound that resonated through the clearing. "You have risked yourself for mine. That is not a small thing. You will find that actions like yours carry weight in ways you do not yet understand." Elias nodded. "I understand. I only did what I thought was right." Her eyes softened slightly, though her presence remained imposing. "Then we will see if what you have done is enough. For now, you have earned a place among us. But understand, human, this is only the first step." Elias's heart raced. He did not know what she meant by first step, but he felt both fear and determination. He had saved the young, and now somehow he had entered into a bond that would challenge him like nothing else he had ever faced. As night fell over the alien forest, Elias stood among beings whose culture and strength were alien to him. Yet, he felt a strange sense of belonging. For the first time in his life, he realized that courage, empathy, and quick thinking, traits humans often underestimated in themselves, could create ripples across worlds. And whatever trials lay ahead, he knew he would face them, not for glory, not for recognition, but because it was the right thing to do. And in that moment, under the shimmering trees of Veora, a human had proven that bravery and compassion could cross species, language, and worlds. The morning sun of Veora rose slowly, casting a soft golden glow across the crystalline forest. The light sparkled on the jagged trees, and the crystal shards scattered across the ground, giving the world a magical, almost otherworldly appearance. Captain Elias Veron stirred from a restless sleep, his body still sore from the encounter with the predator. Every muscle ached, and his mind replayed the events of the previous day. But despite the pain, a sense of purpose ran through him. He had saved the alien young, and now something larger awaited him, a connection he could not yet fully understand. Kalira, the alien mother, appeared silently, her movements as graceful as flowing water. Elias stood to greet her, feeling both respect and caution. He had faced countless dangers in his travels across the galaxy, but he had never encountered a being whose presence alone demanded attention. She looked at him, her glowing violet eyes calm yet piercing, and Elias could feel her thoughts brushing against his mind. You acted without hesitation. You risked your life for what was right. Her thoughts flowed through him. That is rare. Humans are usually guided by self-interest, but you are different. Elias nodded slowly. I didn't think about myself. I only wanted them to be safe. A faint smile touched Kalira's features. And that is why you are now bound to us. There is a custom in my society. Those who protect another's young are forever connected to the family they save. You have made a choice that cannot be undone. Elias felt a chill. He had known there would be consequences, but he had not imagined something like this. Bound, he thought. What does that mean for me? You will understand in time. For now, know this. You owe your actions to the young and to their mother. You will be tested, observed, and guided. If you prove yourself worthy, you will gain respect and a place among us. If not, her thoughts ended abruptly, leaving an unspoken warning that sent a shiver down his spine. Elias took a deep breath. He was not afraid of challenges. He had faced hostile planets, vicious predators, and treacherous terrain before, but this was different. This was not a test of strength alone. It was a test of character, of courage, and of understanding a culture far beyond human comprehension. The alien young emerged cautiously from behind Kalira, their small hands reaching toward Elias. He knelt, smiling softly. Good morning, he said, his voice calm and steady. How are you feeling? The youngest one, with a faint golden glow still shimmering along its skin, stepped forward. Its eyes looked into Elias's, and for a moment he felt an unspoken gratitude. He reached out, letting the small creature rest its hand in his. It was a simple gesture, yet it carried weight. The bond of trust had already begun to form. Kalira observed silently, her eyes never leaving Elias. You have proven your bravery, but now you must show understanding. Actions alone are not enough. You must learn our ways, respect our customs, and live according to principles that may differ from your own. Elias nodded. I'm ready to learn. The mother's eyes softened slightly. Then you will begin your first trial. Today you will understand the meaning of our claim. Before he could ask for more details, Kalira gestured toward a path that led deeper into the forest. Elias followed, carrying a small satchel with supplies, while the alien young scampered close, behind him. The forest was alive with sounds, the rustle of leaves, the chirping of unknown creatures, and the distant roar of some massive animal hidden from view. The path led them to a clearing where the terrain changed dramatically. Here, crystal formations jutted from the ground like towers, and narrow ridges cut across deep chasms. This is where you will learn, Kalira's thoughts echoed. The test begins with understanding risk, strategy, and empathy. You will navigate this land, care for the young, and demonstrate the wisdom of your decisions. Elias scanned the area. The challenge was clear. He had to protect the young from natural hazards while moving them across difficult terrain. It was not just about courage. It was about intelligence, foresight, and quick thinking. He could already see how alien these tests were, yet his human instincts told him that flexibility and creativity would be his greatest tools. The first obstacle came quickly. A deep chasm split the clearing, wide enough that the young could not jump across safely. Elias looked around, finding several long crystal branches scattered nearby. Carefully, he lifted and positioned them, creating a makeshift bridge. He tested the stability, then guided the young across one by one. At each step, he encouraged them, speaking softly. "Step carefully. You can do this." Kalira observed silently, impressed by his methodical approach. Humans are known for ingenuity, she thought, but few can act under pressure while keeping others safe. You are proving yourself worthy. As they crossed, a sudden tremor shook the ground. Loose crystals slid dangerously close to the edge of the bridge. Elias's heart raced, but he remained calm, holding the hands of the young to steady them. The tremor passed and they reached the other side safely. "You see?" Kalira's thoughts continued. "Strength alone does not guarantee survival. Wisdom, empathy, and adaptability are what define a true protector." Elias nodded silently. He could feel the weight of her judgment, yet it did not discourage him. It fueled him. The human spirit, he realized, thrived not in certainty, but in challenges that demanded courage and moral resolve. The journey continued. They encountered narrow ledges over rushing streams, plants that released toxic spores when touched, and strange creatures that, while not hostile, created obstacles in their path. At every challenge, Elias relied on observation, reasoning, and compassion. He found ways to move the young safely, using sticks to clear poisonous plants, guiding them around dangerous ledges, and even using his body as a shield when unexpected creatures approached. By midday, they reached a high ridge overlooking a vast valley. The alien young looked out in awe, but Elias's eyes were drawn to a distant glow. Smoke rose from the forest below. Without hesitation, he led the group down the ridge toward the source, sensing that danger awaited. The smoke came from a natural fire, spreading quickly across dry crystal underbrush. The young panicked, but Elias calmed them. "Follow me. Stay close." He carried the smallest ones when the path became treacherous and encouraged the others to move carefully. Kalira arrived silently, observing his actions. "You do not act for recognition, nor for gain. You act because it is right. This is the essence of our claim. You are becoming one with our principles, even if you do not yet fully understand them." Elias managed to lead the young to a safe cave as the fire raged behind them. He tended to their minor injuries, cleaned dust and ash from their skin, and reassured them that they were safe. Exhausted, he leaned back, taking a moment to catch his breath. Kalira finally approached, her expression unreadable. "You have protected them," she said aloud. "You have faced danger and uncertainty. Few would survive such trials, and even fewer would act with such compassion." Elias bowed slightly. "I only did what I had to. They are living beings. They deserved protection." The alien mother's eyes glowed softly. "And for this, you are now bound to us. You will remain under observation, and your actions will be tested further. Your bravery has earned respect, but respect must be proven through continued deeds. Are you ready for that?" Elias met her gaze steadily. "I am ready. I will do whatever it takes to protect them and prove my intentions are true." A faint smile touched Kalira's face. "Then let the trials continue. You have begun your path, human. You are no longer an outsider. You are part of this bond now. Understand it, and your place among us will be secured." As the sun dipped toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the valley, Elias realized that life on Veora had changed forever. He had saved the young from the predator and faced the first trials of the alien mother's claim. But the path ahead was uncertain and dangerous, yet he felt no fear. Not because the challenges were small, but because he knew that human courage, ingenuity, and compassion could overcome even the most alien of obstacles. And in the soft glow of Veora's twin moons rising above the forest, Elias understood something profound. The act of saving life, no matter how alien, could forge bonds stronger than any force in the galaxy. And that bond, once formed, could define the destiny of humans among the stars. The dawn broke over Veora, casting pale light across the crystalline forest. Captain Elias Varon awoke to a soft humming vibration in the air, a sound he had learned was common in the alien mother's presence. Kalira stood silently nearby, her tall form blending with the shimmering light of the crystals. Today would be different. Today, Elias would face the formal trial that determined whether he truly deserved the bond he had entered into with Kalira's family. The alien young gathered near him, their luminous eyes blinking sleepily. Despite the dangers of the forest and the previous day's harrowing events, they seemed calm now, trusting him entirely. Elias bent down to check on them. "Ready for another day?" he asked gently. The smallest of them nodded, and he offered a reassuring smile. "Good, stay close and remember you can do this." Kalira's voice was calm, resonant, and full of authority. "The trial begins." She gestured toward a narrow path leading deeper into the forest. It twisted between jagged crystal towers, over streams of glowing liquid, and through tunnels carved naturally into the rock. Elias's heart quickened, but he straightened his shoulders. He had faced predators, fire, and treacherous terrain before. This trial would test him differently, not just his physical skill, but his mind, patience, and moral judgment. The first challenge appeared almost immediately. A sudden chasm split the path ahead, far wider than any he had seen before. Kalira's eyes glowed faintly as she observed him. "How will you solve this, human?" Many of my kind would hesitate. Some would turn back. Elias studied the terrain. The chasm was too wide to jump, and the surrounding crystal cliffs were jagged and unstable. But he remembered the small energy grapplers he carried, tools designed to latch onto surfaces and pull objects or people safely. Carefully, he attached them to secure points on both sides of the chasm. Then he tested the makeshift rope bridge, swinging it slightly to ensure it could support the weight of the young aliens. "Stay calm," he whispered to them. "We'll cross together, slowly." One by one, he guided the young across the rope bridge, keeping a firm but gentle hold on each. The smallest trembled, fear in its luminous eyes, but Elias's steady hands and soft words reassured it. "You're safe. I won't let anything happen to you." Kalira's eyes followed each movement, her expression unreadable but her telepathic presence conveying approval. "You act with patience, intelligence, and care. You think beyond strength alone. This is how one earns the trust of the young and the respect of the elders." Once across the chasm, Elias and the group faced the second challenge. A narrow ridge over a rushing stream of molten crystal liquid. The air shimmered with heat, and the young creatures hesitated at the edge. Elias knew that even a single misstep could mean serious injury. He instructed the larger young to balance themselves against him while carrying the smallest ones. Slowly, deliberately, he guided them across the ridge, pausing when necessary to reassure them. One of the larger young tripped, and Elias caught it just in time. "Steady," he said, keeping his voice calm. "We're almost there." The young's eyes glowed brighter, not with fear now, but with trust. Kalira's gaze lingered on Elias. "You do not falter under pressure. You protect without hesitation. This is rare in any species." As they reached the end of the ridge, Elias noticed movement in the trees above. Small creatures, curious but cautious, observed their passage. He smiled faintly. Veora was full of unknown life, and each encounter reminded him that survival was as much about understanding as it was about strength. The next obstacle was more psychological than physical. They entered a dense grove where the air seemed to distort, making distant sounds echo strangely and shadows dance unpredictably. The young became anxious, their luminous forms flickering as if reflecting their fear. Elias knelt and spoke softly. "I know it's confusing. Stick together. Follow me." Kalira's telepathic presence was near him now, subtle but probing. Do you understand their fear, human? Can you lead them through uncertainty without panicking? Elias felt the weight of her question. He could not simply command them, he had to empathize to guide them through their own uncertainty. He encouraged each of them, acknowledging their fear and giving them agency. You're doing well. Look at the path ahead, step by step, together. Slowly, carefully, he led them through the grove. Each time one faltered, he adjusted his approach, offering both reassurance and guidance. By the time they emerged, the young were calmer, and Elias felt a quiet pride. Trust is earned, he thought, not demanded. The final stage of the trial came at the edge of a steep cliff overlooking a vast valley. Kalira stood silently nearby, her presence commanding attention. Elias could feel the pressure in the air, the unspoken test of his ultimate loyalty and courage. Beyond the cliff, a pack of alien predators prowled, their eyes sharp and calculating. Elias realized immediately he had to ensure the safety of the young while demonstrating that he could face danger without fear. He gathered them close, speaking softly. "Stay behind me. I will guide you safely down." The descent was treacherous with loose rocks and slippery crystal formations. Elias used his grappling tools combined with careful movements and strategic placements to create safe footholds. Every step required focus and precision. The predators watched, curious and cautious, but Elias did not falter. He knew that hesitation could endanger the young. At one point, a predator lunged toward them from above. Elias reacted instinctively, using a reflective crystal shard to deflect it without harming the creature. He understood that his task was not to destroy but to protect. The predator, startled, retreated, and Elias continued the descent, keeping the young safe. By the time they reached the valley floor, Elias's body ached, sweat dripping down his face, but he remained composed. The young clung to him, exhausted but safe. Kalira's gaze softened, a faint glow of approval in her violet eyes. "You have faced danger, uncertainty, and fear. You acted with intelligence, courage, and empathy. Few of my kind could accomplish what you have done. You understand the value of life, and you respect it." Elias looked up at her, breathing heavily. "I did what I had to. They needed me." Kalira's voice, calm yet resonant, carried over the valley. "And for this, you have proven that your actions are guided not by fear but by purpose. You have earned a place in our society, but understand this. The trial is ongoing. Life itself will continue to test you." Elias nodded. "I understand. I will continue to act as I must." The alien young gathered around him, their small bodies brushing against his legs. He smiled, brushing a hand over the smallest's luminous head. "You're safe now," he said softly. "We've made it through." Kalira moved closer, her presence both imposing and protective. "The bond is forming, human. You are learning our ways and showing that humanity has strength beyond what many believe. Your courage is not just physical, it is moral and emotional. That is why you are claimed." Elias felt a mix of pride and humility. He had survived the trial, but he knew it was only the beginning. The bond with Kalira's family carried responsibilities he could not yet fully comprehend. He had proven his bravery, but the challenges of understanding an alien society, their customs, and their expectations were just beginning. As night fell over the valley, Elias made a small camp with the young. Nearby, the alien mother remained silent, observing from a distance, her glowing eyes reflecting both authority and curiosity. Elias tended to the young, helping them rest and ensuring their safety. The stars of Veora sparkled above, a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the unexpected ways life could connect across worlds. Elias realized something profound. Human courage was not measured by weapons or technology alone, but by the willingness to act rightly, to protect those who could not protect themselves, and to face fear without hesitation. Today, he had demonstrated all these qualities, and Kalira had acknowledged them. The trial is ongoing, her thoughts echoed in his mind. But you have proven that humans have potential beyond what many expect. You are now part of our story, human. Remember that courage, intelligence, and empathy define true strength. Elias lay back, gazing at the stars above. He knew that the path ahead would be difficult, full of tests that would challenge every skill and virtue he possessed. But he also knew that he had already begun to bridge the gap between humans and the alien society, showing that bravery and moral strength could transcend species, culture, and expectation. In the quiet of the valley, with the alien young sleeping safely at his side, Elias understood that this was only the beginning of a greater journey, one that would test him not just as a human but as a protector, a leader, and a symbol of courage that could inspire beings across the galaxy. The morning sun barely broke through the dense canopy of Veora's crystalline forest, casting golden streaks that danced over the jagged terrain. Captain Elias Varon had grown accustomed to the alien environment, but he knew that beauty often hid danger. Today, a new threat approached, one that would test not only his courage and intelligence but also his loyalty to Kalira and her young. Elias was surveying the forest floor with the young aliens close behind him when the ground trembled. At first, it was subtle, like a distant rumble, but soon the vibrations grew stronger. Trees and crystals swayed with the movement, and a low, rumbling roar echoed through the valley. Elias's heart raced. He had read reports of natural disasters on Veora, but none described the scale of what he was about to face. Suddenly, the source revealed itself. A massive crystal quake had begun, splitting the ground and sending shards tumbling in every direction. Streams of glowing liquid crystal surged from the fractures, spreading rapidly through the forest. The young cried out, panic in their luminous eyes. Elias dropped to his knees, grabbing the smallest and guiding the others with firm but gentle hands. "Stay close! Follow me!" he shouted, his voice cutting through the roar of the quaking earth. "We can do this! Trust me!" Kalira arrived silently, her presence towering above the chaos. She surveyed the scene, her glowing eyes calculating the fastest way to ensure safety. "You must lead them through this, human," she conveyed through thought. "Your actions now will determine the bond we have formed." Elias's mind raced. The terrain was shifting under their feet, and one wrong step could send the young tumbling into the streams of molten crystal. He remembered his training and the lessons he had learned while navigating the alien trials. Adaptability, observation, and calm decisiveness would be his tools. He spotted a narrow ledge leading to a safer plateau. It was risky, unstable, and partially broken, but it was the only viable route. "This way, step carefully," he called. He held the hands of the larger young, carrying the smallest against his chest, shielding them as they moved. A sudden tremor threw them off balance, and Elias's heart leapt. One of the larger young stumbled toward the edge. Without hesitation, he lunged, catching it mid-fall. The creature clung to him, fear written across its face. "You're safe. I've got you," he reassured, his voice steady even as adrenaline surged through his body. They continued the perilous journey across unstable terrain, dodging falling crystals and leaping over fissures. Kalira followed, silent and watchful, ensuring that Elias's strategy kept the young safe. "Your courage is exceptional, human, but strength alone will not save them. Strategy, care, and quick thinking are just as important." Hours passed as they navigated the destruction. Elias's stamina was tested to the limit, but he refused to rest until every young alien was out of immediate danger. At one point, a sudden collapse of a crystal tower blocked their path. Elias quickly assessed the situation. Using a fallen branch and some smaller crystals, he built a temporary bridge just wide enough for the young to cross safely. "Careful, one at a time," he instructed, positioning each creature carefully. The smallest clung to him tightly as he guided it across. When they all made it safely, Elias allowed himself a brief moment of relief. He could hear Kalira's silent thoughts now, full of approval and something akin to pride. "You have acted selflessly and decisively. You are worthy of the bond you have formed." But the crisis was not over. A massive surge of liquid crystal threatened the plateau they had reached. Elias knew they had to move quickly to reach the valley floor, where the land was more stable. He grabbed the smallest and led the others, using his body to shield them from debris and the searing heat of the liquid crystal. As they descended, he encountered a narrow path that was nearly collapsed. One of the larger young hesitated, terror in its eyes. Elias knelt beside it. "You can do this," he said gently. "Step slowly. I'm right here." The young nodded, taking a careful step, then another, until it reached safety. Kalira moved. Beside him, her presence both protective and evaluative. "You demonstrate patience, courage, and empathy in equal measure. Few beings in this galaxy would lead as you have." At last, they reached the valley floor. The ground was scarred and smoking from the crystal quake, but it was stable. Elias set down the young, checking each one carefully. They were exhausted but unharmed, their trust in him stronger than ever. He allowed himself a brief moment of rest, though the adrenaline still coursed through his veins. Kalira approached, her violet eyes glowing softly. "You have saved them," she said aloud, her voice resonant and commanding. "You have risked yourself without hesitation, guided with intelligence, and protected them with unwavering care. Few could have done what you have done today." Elias straightened, brushing dust from his jacket. "I only did what I had to. They needed protection and I couldn't stand by." Kalira's gaze softened. "And for this human, you are now fully recognized in our society. The bond between you and our family is solidified through action, not words. You have proven that. Humans have strength beyond what we imagined. Strength not of body alone, but of heart and mind." Elias realized the significance of her words. He had risked his life not for recognition, not for reward, but because it was the right thing to do. That courage, combined with intelligence and empathy, had earned him the respect of an alien mother and her young. The alien young gathered around, him, some leaning against his legs, others brushing their hands over his arms in silent gratitude. Elias smiled faintly. "We're safe now," he said softly. "That's what matters." Kalira stood silently for a moment, then spoke again. "The universe is filled with danger, human, but courage, empathy, and wisdom will always distinguish those who are truly strong. You have shown this today. Remember it." As night fell over the valley, Elias looked up at the stars. He understood that his life had changed forever. He was no longer a simple human explorer. He was a protector, a symbol of courage, and a trusted member of an alien family. "The trials will continue," Kalira's thoughts echoed. "But you have faced a test unlike any other. Your actions define you, human. And they define what it means to be part of this bond." Elias settled down with the young around him, their small bodies resting against his. He knew that future challenges would test him further, but he was ready. He had proven that humanity's strength lay not just in physical power, but in courage, intelligence, and the willingness to act selflessly for others. And as the twin moons of Veora rose high above the valley, Elias Varen understood something profound. The courage to protect, the wisdom to guide, and the empathy to care were qualities that could bridge worlds, species, and cultures, and that humans could shine in ways even the most advanced civilizations might never expect. The morning light spilled across Veora's crystalline forests, soft and golden. Captain Elias Varen rose, weary but resolute. The events of the past days had tested him in ways no human had ever imagined. He had faced predators, treacherous terrain, alien customs, and a life-threatening natural disaster. Yet through it all, he had acted with courage, intelligence, and empathy. Kalira approached, her violet skin glowing softly in the morning sun. The young aliens followed closely, their trust in him unshakable. Today would mark a turning point, not just for Elias but for the bond between humans and Kalira's species. "You have proven yourself human," Kalira spoke aloud, her voice resonant and commanding. "Your courage, wisdom, and care have earned a place in our society. But beyond this, you have created a legacy, a bridge between our worlds. Elias bowed slightly. I only did what any being would do to protect those in need. Kalira's eyes softened. Few would act as you have. Your actions speak louder than words. You have shown the universe the true strength of humanity: courage, empathy, and intelligence. You will not just be remembered, you will inspire. Word of Elias's deeds spread quickly among Kalira's society. Aliens who had doubted him marveled at his ingenuity, patience, and moral strength. They had never witnessed a human act with such fearless compassion, solving problems they themselves could not anticipate. Slowly, respect replaced skepticism, and admiration grew. The young aliens thrived under his guidance. They learned not only survival skills but also values: courage, empathy, and the determination to protect others. Elias taught them through example, showing that true strength was measured by actions taken for the good of others, not by dominance or force. Kalira watched with pride as Elias led the young through lessons and explorations. She realized that humanity's potential had been underestimated. These humans could not only survive but could teach and inspire across species, creating connections that were rare and invaluable. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the crystalline forest, Kalira approached Elias. You have become more than a protector, she said softly. You have become part of our lineage. The young will grow knowing the courage and wisdom of a human. Your story will be told for generations. Elias felt a mix of humility and pride. I am honored. I never imagined that helping them would lead to this. Kalira nodded. It is not just help, human. It is courage, empathy, and integrity. You have proven that humans can shine, even among the stars. As the years passed, Elias remained with Kalira's family. He explored Veora alongside, the young, teaching, learning, and protecting. He faced new challenges: storms, predators, and unfamiliar terrain, but always with the same steady courage and intelligence. His deeds became legends, not just among Kalira's species, but eventually reaching human space as well. Humans learned of Elias Varan, the explorer who risked everything for alien young and earned the respect of an entire species. Aliens learned that humans were capable of remarkable bravery and wisdom. And across worlds, the story became a symbol. Courage, empathy, and moral strength could overcome fear, bridge cultures, and inspire generations. Elias often gazed at the stars, thinking of the journey that had begun with a single act of bravery, saving lives without expectation of reward. He understood now that true legacy was not measured in accolades, wealth, or power, but in the lives touched, the courage displayed, and the bonds formed across time and space. Kalira approached him one evening, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. You have changed our world, human, and in doing so you have changed your own. Elias smiled. I only did what I hoped anyone would do. And yet what you did was extraordinary, Kalira thought. Humanity has a light that can reach the stars. You have proven that. Under the shimmering light of Veora's twin moons, Elias Varan knew that humanity had earned a place not just among the stars but in the hearts of other species. The bond he had formed with Kalira and her young was a living testament to courage, empathy, and the enduring spirit of humans, a legacy that would echo across worlds for generations to come. And in that quiet, luminous forest, a human explorer had become more than a legend. He had become a symbol of hope, courage, and the extraordinary potential of humanity.